Alright. This time I should be getting this out in the morning, which is not what I've been up to recently. I've been getting it out, early evening on Mondays, but I'm getting it out this time. I probably should have recorded this last night, but I didn't want to be, I don't know, it was already late when I had an opportunity, and it would have been loud. So, no shift on this Monday morning, so I can record in the morning, get it done, not worry about getting something out and edit it after work. Which will not be the case next week, because next week I do have a shift on a Monday again, but it's okay. We'll get it done. We've been getting it done, and we will continue to get it done. So, my level of energy is a little different since it's first thing in the morning, just woke up. What I am on right now, what am I thinking about, what are we talking about, all that stuff. I kind of want to touch on how weird everything is in the midst of this shutdown and everything being wild and crazy. Do you ever have to give props to somebody who's doing the wrong thing? Generally, when they do one right thing, are you obligated to acknowledge and give praise for that right thing? So this is going to be kind of short because I'm thinking of two major examples right now. One of them is major in the news, for a single event that is unclear that it will continue to have the same effect, and the other is ongoing because this person is speaking about things that are ongoing. So the big one that a lot of people are there are conservatives who are going I thought you guys wanted the war in Gaza to be over. Well, for one thing, it's not, because there's already videos of Israel violating the ceasefire, and even if the war is over, there is not an equitable outcome being found in any way. It's just go back to the rubble. But, Donald Trump created this ceasefire deal. It is allowing Palestinians to make their way back to their homes. A lot of them have. A lot have not, obviously. A lot of them are gone. A lot of them are, as they are making their way back, still dying of malnutrition. This is not the outcome people are seeking, because I don't know that these people are going to be receiving aid. I doubt that these people are going to be receiving aid from the international community, because, look at what has gone on recently. If you look at the symbolic but ultimately hollow ways that other countries have been helping Palestine, we've seen people recognize the Palestinian state. Well, there was already a Palestinian state long before we dropped the Israelis there, but also, the borders of the Palestinian state they're speckled throughout what is now Israel. And if you have these little pocket communities all over Palestine, these people are targets should Israel not be so kind as to keep following the ceasefire. You look at how the flotilla trying to bring aid had all these countries sailing with it up until the point it was right near Israel, and then they all abandoned them, which is not what they said they would do. You had Kim Jong-un saying he was going to nuke Tel Aviv if they did not release Greta Thunberg within 24 hours, and that didn't happen, and that's good that didn't happen for probably if you sat down and really ironed it out, there's probably a couple hundred reasons that's a good thing, but still that had no real tangible effect. Him threatening them, I think it was sort of everybody going, hey, you gotta give her back. So now we're at a point where there is a ceasefire deal, as there have been many before. This isn't the first ceasefire. There are Palestinians that have gone home, Palestinians that have not found a home, Palestinians whose at-large homes are now white dust all over what used to be their cities. We have Palestinians who are still dying from malnutrition as they make their way back. We have Palestinians who died over the course of these 2 years and died before that. I've seen a few Palestinians say that their family members who were killed by Israel and then put into a grave when the people there were driven out, that Israel took the bodies. We don't know where they are. Which is that's a level of like, why would you even do that? There's the reason is because there's not any sort of respect for the humanity of these people, obviously. So, this is all disheartening and sad that we can't get more. I don't know what the solution is. I feel like there is a strong narrative among certain people on the left that Israel should just be wiped out, and I don't think that is the right solution. There's a strong belief that the state of Israel should be dismantled. I'm not knowledgeable enough about international things like that to really understand how that works, what that looks like, etc. So, I don't know, but this is a deal that Trump proposed, Netanyahu agreed to. It's good that there is this thing, but take it with a grain of salt, and I don't feel the need to pat Trump on the back and call him a very special boy for doing this. This was allowed to go on for too long, and maybe he's been discussing this for the last 9 months. I don't think so. I think this is a recent thing, and I think it's desperation from Netanyahu because he's seeing how the international community is now turning on him. Too little, too late, but he's seeing how they're turning on him. So, in this instance, I don't feel the need to give Trump credit where it's due. Like, sorry, man, you're doing too much other bad right now for this meager action to get you props. You're doing too much right here at home, not to mention how you're fucking over basically every country. The other example that I think everybody is in the forefront of their minds right now is how Marjorie Taylor Greene is, not the only one, because you have people like Thomas Massie doing this too, but, basically the only really out and vocally critical of Trump and the current Republican climate as the shutdown and the lack of the Epstein files being released continue. I don't know how long this shutdown's gonna go, man. Like, I'm trying to remember, because it was maybe a decade or less ago that we had a shutdown that was like a month long. It was like huge and like, God, man, what are we doing? I don't know that this one is going to continue much further past this point, but I don't know. It could. Regardless of how long it goes on, Marjorie is out and saying, no, the narrative that this shutdown is orchestrated or the fault of the Democrats is untrue. The clear reason that the Republicans, Mike Johnson in particular, are keeping from opening the government is because they don't want Arizona's new rep to be sworn in. And I don't know. I mean, this is the thing, right? I'm confused about, this is the Epstein file thing in this circumstance. Because, in the first episode of this whole thing, I said, this vote will release them. And then I saw information that wasn't necessarily true, that it would force a vote on the Senate floor. if I'm not mistaken. And if you look at how the Senate's been voting, there's not a chance in hell, right? There's not a chance in hell that this goes through. So I don't know. I'm not clear on if this person being sworn in will get the vote that makes the Epstein files come out, or if it will force the Senate to vote on it, in which case I don't believe that the Senate will vote in favor. And then, that will reflect poorly on them, and that will spread, discontent among people who either on some level still believe that these are coming out, or people who voted for Trump because he ran on them coming out, or everybody else who is already so angry. Because this is the thing, is we all know at this point, Trump being in these, it's obvious to everybody, allegedly, everybody allegedly knows that Trump is in them. But it's more important because Trump is old and he will die. And he will die without facing justice. We need to let go of the fact that we think Trump will face justice for anything that he's doing. Trump is old and he will die and he will never face justice. But there are people in there who are not old and dying currently, who have 25, 35, maybe even 40, 45 years left in their lives. Those people, if it comes out, could and should face justice if they are in them. But nobody can prosecute them if all this is remaining covered up. And I also have this weird sneaking suspicion that whatever comes out is not going to be the complete version of what they have. And, that'll be bad too. That'll be bad for them as well. If they don't come out, it's bad. And if they do come out and they've been highly doctored or documents have been thrown out entirely, these gaps will be noticed and people will be angry. I think also people who are conspiracy minded, even if the full thing comes out, they will be in belief that there is more to them. I think a part of why these aren't coming out is that a lot of these people are in them. But if it was all about just protecting themselves, I don't believe this would have been such a fight. I think they would have found a way to protect themselves and still give people what they've been asking for 5-6 years since this whole thing first kicked off, since Epstein was compelled by forces unknown to allegedly kill himself. The issue is, I think there are foreign politicians in there, and I think there's probably been, on some level, a threat made. Maybe there was talk of completely cutting off trade, which has already been happening because of the tariffs, but maybe there's been a threat like, hey, we're going to completely cut trade with you if you bring this out about us. Maybe there's been suggestion that there will be retaliation that isn't necessarily violent, but will severely damage relations between us and nations who aren't involved. Because we know Prince Andrew was a friend of Epstein and was in the files. We know this. This is already done. And if Prince Andrew was in them, it wasn't just Donald Trump and Prince Andrew. There has to have been more. And some of them may even be dead, and they may be banking on, we just need to... There may be people being like, we need to delay them until we are dead, and then have them come out. I don't know. That was a whole tangent, about the Epstein stuff. I don't know what this vote is going to do. I don't know even if it's supposed to do something, if that's going to have the effect. But to loop back, Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, I think the Republicans have done this because they don't want it to come out. And she has also said, these will come out someday. I don't know why they're trying to delay it. She is more diplomatic than me. She kind of talks around the people being in them. But Marjorie Taylor Greene wants these out. She wants everybody to know who's in them. And I'm inclined to first say, I think a lot of what she believes and what she has pushed for and her attitude about it have been gross and vile. But I do think when somebody is dissenting from their entire party, maybe I don't, shake their hand and say thank you very much, you've done so well, but I am pleased by that. I've seen a couple little rumblings that maybe she'll flip parties. For one thing, I don't think the Democrats would have her, but also she is more useful if she holds on to her spot and is the voice of resistance within her own party. She's more useful both to the Democratic Party and she's more useful to the Republicans being a Republican. Like, she's more useful where she's at than she is flipping sides. And I also think she's unlikely to want to flip sides. So, but I will give her credit but not praise. I will go with thank you, it's good that you're doing that. Please continue to be rational and aware about the other things you do and maybe think about them a little harder. Maybe don't go on the Senate floor and talk about Jewish space lasers. Maybe don't do that. So yeah, the point I'm trying to make is, these two people, as more and more happens, as things develop, it's good that things, however small, are being done. And you can comment and be happy that these things are being done, but you don't need to be a sycophant to people who do this. So, I kind of want to, last time, I did the whole, it was just generally a positive episode. This time it was a level episode. I've talked skeptically and upset about some things, so what are things that are good and to look forward to? There's a lot of good stuff going on in Chicago. Continued protests. Things seem to be working out. Judge ruled that no National Guard could be sent into Illinois. I don't know if the Texas National Guard has been recalled yet. I'm sure I think if they are going to be, they have been already. But I didn't look too deeply into that. I just know that the courts ruled that, hey, you got to get them out of there. So we'll see if they listen. But it's good that Illinois continues to show resistance. There are agents detaining not just the people they set out to detain, but protesters as well. This is happening. I've seen videos of it. It's bad, but keep showing strength without crossing too far of a line, because I do think what's happening right now is they are trying to provoke people to get particularly violent. It's kind of the vibe I got. What else? I had something and it went out the other ear. I guess what I'll mention is there is another nationwide No Kings protest, October 18th, 2025, so if you're hearing this when it comes out before that Saturday, you want to go and make your voice heard, that is the place to do it right now without too much risk of harm, because I tell you what, would I like there to be more momentum than just a single day of protest? Yes. But I don't think it's for nothing that it is one day. And I also think we've seen from the last one that this doesn't get particularly violent on the side of law enforcement, because it is known that it is only one day. It is known that it is going to end however big it gets. So, in some places in LA there were issues. I think there was maybe a little in New York, probably in other cities. But at large, I think it was mostly a demonstration, and it is good that it is happening, even if I would like it to be more substantial. So if you go to their website, which I will, if you go to nokings.org, you will see the map that they have. So if you're looking for a place to safely and levelly make yourself known without too much risk, that is the place to go. Like, be safe, be aware, but the last one wasn't a big problem for a lot of people because of it being, I would assume, because of it being limited. Law enforcement did not. They did some things, but they didn't, mass arrest, mass tear gas in general people. They did in some places. In LA, it's always going to be bad because they want less dissent from the liberal side of things. But yeah, that is everything, I think. Oh, I forgot that I have been doing a song for these. Let's go through my playlist here and see if I can find something that touches on what we've been talking about. This is more of an underground band. They don't have a ton of listeners on Spotify. Their name is Jacuzzi Fire. They have a song called Epstein's List, which is fun. Very high energy song, and I think because I talk so much about it, that is what's relevant right now. Government shutdowns are so far and few between and quick that I don't know that there's really any songs out there about them. And I could look for hours about songs about Republicans that try to get what I'm getting across here about not giving them credit right, but I mean, most punk songs are anti-Republican in some way. So, that's all